Okay, on this particular video today, I'm going to cover what I call basically a negative review PPC strategy. So it sounds pretty edgy because it is, highlighting what's the worst or other negative things about what your competitors do with your ads in order to get more of the people in your market that's going to buy anyway, just to automatically start coming to you. So it sounds kind of nasty. I'm sure it is. Business is war. We're not all here to just we'll all get along or all just share. No, your job is to crush the other companies. If you genuinely think what you have to offer is the best solution for the customer. How is the customer served if they buy your competitor's product that's inferior by being nice to them? I'm pretty sure if you took a survey of your market, people would rather have the truth than a bad experience and not hurt their feelings up front. So, take it for what you will. And this is, as far as the ethical nature of what I'm about to share with you, ultimately, again, it's just tied to the same thing. I'm all about proving and using all the information that's available to me and about the clients that we have to share with that potential company's customer base or client base or prospect base, of course, to get them to understand why they should buy and to buy. For me, there is no right or wrong. It's just, are you telling the truth, number one? And then number two, I guess there is no other two. Your job is to be, to be fair, which is to be truthful. Beyond that, if that's what it, you have to go ahead and do things your competitors don't like in order to take market share so that the customer gets the best deal. Well, that's just, capitalism 101 ultimately here. People get better options available to them when there's choice. Otherwise, we live in a dictatorship, and everybody would get what you would get. And I can assure you, I've been to different countries like that. The selection is crap. You don't want that to be the case. And no offense to anybody out in a developing country, it's not my point. Obviously, we all kind of know inherently, regardless of where we live, the more competition there is, the better, and the more we know about our market in terms of being educated consumers, if assuming that we care and want to know, is better. So this is what this is for here. So anyway, I got enough of the trigger warning stuff out of the way. I'm going to go into my short list of things here about how to actually put this into play for your business and actually raise your sales using it. Because it certainly will raise your sales, specifically at cost of sales your competitors are not going to get now, or in other words, raise your market share, at least of what's available of the chunk of people that go online that are going to be, searching online before they ultimately make a purchase of that subsegment of whatever it is for your market, whether it's all or just part of it. You'll get more of it for sure. So anyway, the first thing on my list is to mention, everyone talks about negative reviews, but what about promoting what's already there? So, ultimately, it's in a situation where you have a negative review. Obviously, nobody likes that, right? I could tell you, if you have a negative review, there's plenty of ways that you can make up for it, if you will. One of which it can often be is everybody gets negative reviews. It's like impossible if you have thousands or millions of customers to not get a negative review. So what we should do if we have negative reviews is to try as best as possible to get our side of the story to be as most visible as possible. It's almost like a PR company, public relations company. If you do something stupid, what is the strategy? Well, let's just bombard the media with our own version of the story, and then that is damage control for them. A negative review that you got, or somebody wrote a scathing article, let's say, about you. Could be true or not true. I'm not here to debate that end of it. But there are plenty of ways, and I'm not just talking about using Google to push. The reputation management industry, what they're all about, and I'm not speaking for everybody, is to get stuff that ranks good, to push down the stuff organically on Google that's bad. I mean, obviously that's one way to do it. It's not that easy to do anymore, but there's ways with paid ads that you can get your message out so that it's clear, and way more effective than even that. Even than just having your, when you type in your brand and then reviews, having that all lined up and optimized well, kicking off the bad stuff that you have with the good stuff that's out there using SEO tactics. Because paid ads you have the opportunity to show them up, they can show up more than just that one, initial brand search where they're going to look for your reviews. And so anyway, that's the background behind that. Now, how to actually implement this for your business and get the increase in market share that I'm talking about, specifically promoting what is basically your competitors' negative reviews in an ethical way. So here's how the strategy works. The first thing that you're going to do is you're going to collect all your competitors' negative reviews plus overall reviews overall. So for the most part, we're talking about here, make a list of all your competitors, then in a spreadsheet write down what their trust score, spot score is, what their Yelp score is, what their Google score is, what their write all that stuff out. From there, and so with that, what you could ultimately do, what you're trying to do with this, is identify, okay, you have a bad review. Who cares? What is what you have in comparison to what the rest of the market has? How does it vary? And obviously, what you're trying to do here, mostly here, is identify. You may have you may have bad reviews, but overall, looking at everything, it's genuinely positive, and hopefully more positive than the overall position of your competitors. If it's not, you can play, there's some different things you can do, specifically saying, to where you are focusing on the websites where you do have a good review and individual comments that were mentioned on those particular sites, and then what other people have, and focusing on the site where you do have a better listing, whereas your competition has a lesser listing, whereas maybe another site you don't have that going for you, so that we can bring that up in a future conversation with your market and people that are that do care about reviews and are going to check into that before making a purchase. So anyway, the next step is to make a page that ranks for all the people in your market by cumulative reviews collected, yours on top, of course. So when I say quote unquote rank, so basically what you're going to do is you're going to make what looks like ultimately a review site, a mini review site. If you sell transmissions, what you're going to do is you're going to type in, like classic car transmission reviews.com. And for the most part, all the reviews websites on the web, they're pretty much all financed by the industry because there's no other way to make money. I'm not speaking for everybody here. So what you're going to do is you're just going to enter the review market yourself. And instead of paying these other people for a review, you're going to actually not lie here. Want to make that very clear. We're not lying here. We're not meaning to deceive. You're going to make a site that's going to point out the sites where you do have an overall good review, or if overall together you have 500 reviews, you're going to highlight the fact that you have those, whereas your competitors may only have, 10. It's like a better overall score, but you only have 10 reviews. There's some way to twist what the situation is so that you look like you're the best, and then you're going to, on that site, you're going to have a ranking of you and the top 10 competitors there. Could be the top 20, of course, and you're going to have yours on the top and the reasons why. So when somebody sees that page and they're trying to rank stack which company has the best reviews, yours is ultimately going to seem like the best one in that situation. And again, don't lie, but and a lot of times people complain about, the weirdest things, like, I did get good customer service, but you have the best product, so you focus more of your money in the product than the customer service. So maybe the review site could be talking about the best product quality ranked. And then you just take all the comments that are about product quality from the review sites that you've looked into and only pull those out. And then your review site is titled the topic of highest ranked transmissions by quality and industry, and then you're at the top there then in that situation. So you get kind of what I'm mentioning here. So you'll find a way to be up on top, and more specific you can be, the better. So if you are on top in that particular situation I mentioned, show the top 5 of the reviews that talk about the quality of the product. And again, you're going to, maybe in that situation, filter out anything that doesn't have to do with product quality there, since your review site's about top transmission ranked, top transmissions by quality ranked is the title of your review site. And down below, your competitor is going to have the comments that people had about the quality there, where it broke down or whatever, to make you look good, and specific things they said about your competitor that are scathing, and the good things that your past customers said about you up top, and so that those testimonials really help people when they're descriptive. So you'll have a few of the descriptive ones there, and few for yours, which are better, and for each of your competitors, which are worse. Maybe you won't get 3 for every competitor, but maybe you'll get 1, and maybe for some of them you'll get none. But it'll just say, in that case, no reviews online, which if there's no reviews legitimately, well, then maybe that what you're going to imply is that's not an established company, right? And so anyway, and obviously if you have some good reviews, you'll just do a different topic or find a different angle. I'm not going to go through that again, but you get the point there. But anyway, with that site, you're going to make this domain you come up with. So it'll be a brand new domain, transmission like reviews, transmissionreviews.com or something like that. And then the topic of the site, transmission by quality ranked or whatever. And so the domain's going to sound like it's a review site if you just were looking at it by itself. And then when you look at the site, it just looks like a normal, like a top 20 ranking system there. And with that, the second thing to mention here again is it's very, very important that it looks independent, because people trust what looks independent, right? So that's why there's a whole industry of people that have review sites for like mattresses and stuff, and they just review mattresses because people want to see independent reviews. But your review site, so you have a domain that sounds like you're independent, a design that looks like you're independent, and you don't need a whole site, which is the magic part about this. You could just have a one-page site, literally, because most people aren't, let's say 5% of people will actually go and visit any other part of the site, because all that information is going to be laid out for them there. And if they do click on the home button, this is kind of edgy, if you will. I've seen other people, they'll just say construction, under construction. So if they try to go to the homepage, in case the 1 or the 5% of people or so that do want to see that, they can't. There's a legitimate reason why there's no content there. So you have that. Once you have that, now you're set up to be able to promote this thing with ads, basically. From there, you can have your review site show up in more than a couple different places, but here are the main ones. Google search, and this could be done as a way to get cheaper clicks, CTR, conversions mostly. So one of the unique situations where this can come in handy is, let's say, like for instance, I mentioned a mattress space, like the bed in a box space, where you get a foam mattress mailed to that specific market. It's so competitive, and there's so many companies with venture capital behind them. It's hard to get that search ad to work, and there's so many people out now. And in that situation, that's a particular situation where I would go with an outside of the box strategy, specifically doing this, where I made a site that ranks them all, and then you have an ad, so whereas everybody's just saying, buy me, buy me, buy me, you have a thing that says, before you buy, make sure to check best sleepers guide to bed in a box mattresses that ship by mail or whatever, and they go to the site and they see your information there, ranked by quality, so on and so forth. And then basically on top of that, by the way, so that could be for buy bed-in-a-box mattress, right, by itself. But then people who are looking for best mattresses for side sleepers, you would tweak that page in that situation if you're going to do that, and you'd have a ranking for mattresses best for side sleepers. And that, by the way, works really, really good. If you can come up with a custom landing page for every type of what's the best blank, 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 and it's a specific type of product underneath the main category of product you sell like that. Takes a lot of effort, but man, does it work well. But for people that are searching for like mattress for sale, and you do that on the general buying terms, you can measure it and just find out if how many more clicks you're going to get, because the raise in click-through rate. And of course, a lot of people don't really want to think this way, but just because you have a page they have to go to before they get to your site, which I call a pre-lander, the fact that when they get through that page and get to your main site, they're going to convert at such a higher rate than they were before, just sending them to your site directly and indiscriminately from Google search, where they're just looking for a mattress but they don't know what, that it actually gets a higher return at the end of the day. The higher click-through rate, first of all, because it's a really juicy, enticing, kind of titillating ad, they're going to click through it 2 or 3 times the rate, which is going to bring your cost per click in half, normally what it would have to be for that same competitive keyword. And then they get to the page, let's say 15-20% are going to click through, but then instead of converting on your insight at 0.5%, now you're at 5% because they already know, without having to search around anymore, you got the best product for side sleepers, and that's what I'm looking for, and I don't want to have to work anymore, so therefore I'll just buy this one. Especially since, by the way, when they're searching for best mattresses for side sleepers, you can have remarketing ads show up for the person up to 90 days afterwards, which basically frames the content you had on your review site and say we were featured on, and then point people back to your website again, not to the review site, but your website where it lists the product itself. Keep reminding them that this is the best thing for side sleepers, and then you will get even more return than you normally would without that. So that's the first thing Google search. And then the other thing is you can add it as a part of your remarketing strategy, and I just talked about that. This specifically is going to be used to increase your get higher close rates. So basically I gave you the framework of how to do this for a review site. There's no stopping you from being able to do this more than once. So you could have a whole website dedicated and looks a certain way that ranks by quality, but then also you could have a whole different one that talks about overall customer experience, like in terms of things like returns and shipping times and stuff like that, that just focuses on that. And then so that ultimately, so once somebody's hit your site and that's the type of person who wants to look at reviews and really cares about independent peer reviews, you can also, once they've been to the site, that person's interested in that, you could have another review site that shows up in terms of a remarketing ad after they've left and forgotten about it, the next day or whatever. They see another ad that talks about mattress companies, best customer service and shipping times reviewed. And I know that's not it probably wouldn't work, at least for that particular, custom ranking by customer service. So it really makes sense. I'm just giving you a general idea how this works. That they could, and this whole system works. The first thing you're going to do with one site, you're going to add another. And if you get it, what you're going to do is you're going to look at the overall close rates in terms of who contacts your customer service or sales department, I should say, and carefully track what your close rates are to sale from question to sale. And then also you're going to look at overall sales and see how your sales go up after you do the promotion of the first review site. And then if that works, you're going to add another, and you're going to see how much your sales go up again. And if it goes up again and it's worth it, do another. I mean, you don't have to stop. I know it looks a little funny to have too many, but you can also mix it up. You can have the the review site, another review site, then there could be an article. And by the way, the article and how it's written, and this would just be an article style of site, but you have an article that looks like it's written by an, let's say, industry reviewer, or should I say, industry journalist, if you will, that reviews transmissions and talks about the industry and the different companies that are offering them. And then it sounds like, of course, that person's reviewing yours and the good aspects of it, and then what the other companies don't have. So that'd be another way to mix it up. Anyway, and then you can keep going with this general angle. Of course, you can actually send your product to somebody and get their opinion about it and pay them to write an article and then put that on the site and promote that. Doing the same thing to where ultimately if they go back to the homepage, they could see under construction if you had to, of course, so that you can have what looks like a whole news site, and which is something under your control, but not have to have a whole news site per se. And yes, again, this is a little bit manipulative, but at the same time, all you're doing is highlighting the real aspects of your product, and you're hiring a journalist to write the article. You write that person's real name, then it's not lying. Where cross the line is where you make up names and you start having that person explain what's good about the product, which it ain't legitimately better than the competition's. Then the consumer gets hurt. So anyway, I just want to reinforce that one more time. You will get higher click conversion rates from the remarketing aspect of this. So I would promote this on Google search. Of course, any site that has a third way that you can use this review site, by the way, would be any site where the actual, in the mattress company example I gave you, any of the mattress review sites generally have AdSense, which means you can run Google Display Network ads on it. And then I would promote and push people to my review site since they're already interested in that way. So that's going to be able to get you brand new people inside your sales funnel, your PPC sales funnel as I call it. You're going to get people through Google search newly in your funnel that way, and then you're going to remarket to them on Google Display Network to keep pointing people back to the site or see new review sites that you have in your funnel and then onto the site. And that's specifically kind of how you work it. Overall, you're going to get ultimately a cheaper person to your site in the first place, and then you're going to get a higher close rate by keep remarketing the reviews to them as well. So ultimately you got a 3-to-1 return right now because it's real competitive in your space. There's a lot of people that sell something similar to yours, or what it seems similar to the consumer but is not. This is a great way to break out of the mold so that you got to click now half the rate it was, converts about the same rate overall after you figure in the overall conversion rate of how many people leave the review site and go to the main site afterwards, and go to a 6-to-1 return, and then you add the remarketing in there, double the amount of people that actually buy, because now they're kind of forced to know why your product's better in what ways, and the repetition makes you seem like the authority in the space at the same time, and then you get to your maybe 8-to-1 return from all that. So this is just a great way for anybody who has what they think is a good product but are getting ripped off by other cheaper inferior products, but they have all the marketing budget and the names, so therefore they get the sale. This is one fantastic way to get back at them. And again, it can be another way to help compensate for a bad review, but overall you have good reviews to reframe things. But overall, most of all, again, is a way to break out of the mold and increase the ROI on a campaign, or get a little bit more customers into your whole website, into your sales funnel as well, if you start to use what I told you here and promote that on the review sites themselves that run Google AdSense. Okay, so anyway, that covers everything. I hope you enjoyed this video. I have a lot of other videos just like this on this channel. I come out with a video about every day. You should check those out. If you want step-by-step instructions on how to build campaigns like this, all that information, I've covered what I personally use at my firm for the campaigns that we ultimately have to guarantee results for our clients. There on my site at guaranteedppc.com/blog, there is step-by-step instructions how to build campaigns just like this one. I know that one for sure, especially this strategy itself. Anyway, if you have any questions about negative review PPC strategy, as I talked about here, anything that I didn't cover, leave a comment down below. I'll be glad to answer any questions that you have, and I will definitely get back to you if you leave me a comment or question about the strategy here that I talked about today on the video. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you do try it.